are about to get the final book in Mistborn Era 2, Wax and Wayne. Or is it called, is the series called Wax and Wayne? A Mistborn novel? Why does only one of 3, and it's book 2, say a Mistborn novel? The rest of them just have, oh no, it's right there. But it's not on book 3. Oh, it's right there. Cut that. We're about to get the final book in the Mistborn Era 2 series, Wax and Wayne, whatever this quartet is called. We're about to get the conclusion. So I decided to do a quick summary video. My goal is to just give you not a detailed book by book, beat by beat summary, but rather just here's all the major beats, here's all the major information that you will probably, it'll be good to have a refresher on before entering into book 4. I did not reread these in preparation for book 4, but I read them pretty recently and I have notes on them, so this should be good. But if I need any corrections or if there's anything that I didn't mention that should probably be remembered, please put that in the comments and we'll upvote the ones that should be at the top so that people can look at the comments and also have more refreshers that are important for the series. So book 1 starts off with Wax and his wife Lessie teamed up in the roughs to fight an outlaw named Bloody Tan. Bloody Tan captures Lessie and Wax attempts to kill him, but he accidentally kills Lessie instead. At the same time, Wax's uncle and sister are also reported to be dead, so these things take him back home to take care of House Landrian, and Wayne follows him generally to be a nuisance. Now Wax losing his wife and then thereafter his uncle and his sister leaves him in quite a state. He's basically lost the majority of the family that he knows and loves in one fell swoop, and this is a really big factor for his character. He's very depressed. He freezes in battle now. He is trying to basically remake his life, give up the life of a lawman and be a presentable man of his house now. He arranges a marriage with Steris so that her house can have notoriety and his house can have money because his uncle has left his house in a very bad state. Wayne too has his own PTSD that he's working through. When he was younger, he accidentally killed a man by shooting him, and in doing so, he left 3 kids fatherless, and he feels horrible about it. He regularly sends money back to the kids of the man that he killed, and they hate him and openly tell him so, and he feels like he deserves that hatred, and he accepts it, and he basically thinks very little of himself. He deals with his own trauma by being very, very involved in Wax's life, being his secondhand man, looking out for him, doing everything he can to make Wax's life better, to work through Wax's trauma with him, as well as constantly making jokes and being inappropriate and trying to lighten the mood all the time, and putting on various disguises and trying on different hats, as it were. Wax does a very bad job at ending his career as a lawman and instead becomes an unofficial detective and starts following the case where allomancers are being kidnapped by a group called the Vanishers. And this group is doing this so that they can breed the allomancers. They're also stealing aluminum off of trains, which is also important, but significantly less icky. Miles Hundred Lives and Mr. Suit, who is secretly Wax's uncle, are both working with this organization, and they attempt to kidnap Steris and her sister Marcy, and while Marcy escapes, they are successful at kidnapping Steris. So Wax, Wayne, and Marcy team up to rescue Steris. Wax hides in a shipment of aluminum, and he's taken back to the Vanishers' hideout. Here it's revealed that Mr. Suit is Wax's uncle and that his sister is also alive, who he assumes is being held captive by his uncle. So Wax declares that he is going to take his uncle down, and they team up against Miles Hundred Lives, and Marcy is able to be a really big help in this and discovers that her abilities, which she had previously written off, are actually very useful. And she's been told her entire life that she's useless and those powers will never be helpful, and what good is she? So she's working through all that emotional baggage by learning how she can be useful and being pretty awesome, actually. Speaking of emotional baggage, Steris also has some because she isn't able to pick up on social norms and social cues, so she really heavily plans everything out down to the kind of jokes that she's going to tell at a party in order to fit in. But Wax and Steris, their arranged marriage actually turns into a love story, which is really, really sweet because she goes on these adventures with him and really loves it, and other people don't appreciate appreciate the true him and he can be himself around her, and she embraces that. And her very organized and analytical way of looking at things and viewing the world works really well as well. And she has some amazing scenes. Sometimes she says, I will not be an asset here. And so she just removes herself from the situation so that they can take down the baddies. And sometimes she's like, I can shoot that guy with a shotgun. And she does. And she's awesome. And they fall in love with the true versions of themselves. And it's really sweet. Anyway, back to the plot. Book 2. In Book 2, Harmony speaks directly with Wax again, and this time he asks them to stop a Khandra named Bleeder, also known as Palm, who's gone rogue, but she's also only using one spike at a time so that she can't be controlled by Harmony, which means that Harmony can't reach her. He can't speak to her. He can't impact her at all. It's really clever, actually. It's a really cool plot. Book 2 is awesome. Milan, another Khandra, agrees to help Wax and Wayne track down Bleeder, who is actively killing and attempting to kill many more people and generally causing a lot of unrest in the city. And the Khandra are afraid that Bleeder is going to risk the safety of their people through her antics, so they just want to take her down. Milan and Wayne also start dating at this point, and their dynamic is awesome. Wax shoots Bleeder with another spike so that Harmony can control her, but instead she takes her spikes out so that she can die outside of Harmony's influence. Here she reveals that she is Lessie, and back when they were living in the Roughs and working together, Harmony had actually sent her to him to protect him while he was working in the Roughs. So now Wax has killed his wife twice. Keep in mind that Harmony is essentially the god of this area right now, but it's Sazed. Harmony is the name that Sazed has taken on in this new role. Ruin and preservation, the two have come together and invested in him. And the balance of these two is what makes up Harmony, but it's also, they have conflicting influences, which leaves Harmony's hands tied, Sazed's hands tied, in a lot of ways. It affects him by not being able to fully protect his people, but it also affects him, well, I think this is more Sazed than it is ruin and preservation, but Sazed loves his people too much, and so he's made their lives too comfortable, which means that they're not growing at the rate that they should be. The example he gave is the radio should have been invented years ago, but it's not, because you're not uncomfortable enough and you're not pushing yourself enough. Anyway, because of Harmony's limitations, he's looking for a new sword, which is someone who will move for him. A lot of us assume that the sword, a lot of the fans assume that the sword is going to be Wax, because Harmony has stepped in and interfered in Wax's life several times and keeps asking him to help him, Harmony, with things, which seems like he has an intention for his life. But we also know that he's done stuff for other people too. Like, for instance, Marcy. Harmony had a conversation with Wax at one point and said, I've pulled a lot of strings. I've done a lot to give Marcy the ability to have influence in the world and to be able to do so much. So please stop writing her off and pushing her aside. That'd be great. It's kind of annoying what you're doing. So we know that he's personally invested in multiple people's lives. I think it might be Wayne that's gonna be the sword. Just because I think Wax is too obvious of an answer, and Sanderson likes his like big reveals, big twists, so I don't think it's gonna be Wax. Anyway, the story. Regardless of all that, it is very clear that Harmony is pulling a lot of strings in Wax's life, and Wax, it's also causing a lot of trauma for him personally, so he doesn't appreciate it, and he basically comes to the conclusion of, I believe in God, I know he's real, I've talked to him face to face, but I hate him, and I don't want to follow him anymore. Finally, they recover a spike from Bleeder's body that they don't recognize, and they think it might be linked to Trell, which we don't know a lot about Trell at this point. We just know that he is a force that's worshipped by different people groups, and he is in direct opposition to Harmony. So something's gonna happen there eventually. So Wax and Wayne learn about the bands of Mourning, which they don't understand yet, but eventually they will learn that it basically holds all the powers of allomancy and feruchemy all stored up in one place, accessible to use. He also learns that his sister is supposedly being held captive in the same area that the bands of Mourning are. So Wax, Wayne, Marcy, and Milan all set out to try to find them, and in doing so, there's a train heist or a train robbery, there's following clues to figure out where the final destination is, there's picking up items that will eventually they'll uncover the significance behind, there's temples with booby traps. It's a blast. But during the train robbery, they recover a mysterious cube. So now in their item belt, they have one mysterious cube that they'll later learn can be used like an allomantic bomb, one coin that Hoyd gave them at a ball, and a book that Marsh, now known as Iron Eyes, gave Marasi to give to Wax. So when they finally figure out where they need to go and arrive on location, they recover a spike, they find what looks like a crashed ship with no masts or rudders or anything, and they free a masked man who's being held captive. His name is Alec, he's a part of the Malwish people, and he tells them that they have coins that contain allomantic power that anyone can use, and their sovereign, who rescued them, told them about these coins. They go through a temple filled with traps. Milan is awesome in this scene. Because she's a Khandra, she can take all the hits and she's amazing. But as they're going through the temple, Wax realizes that this is a setup and that his sister, who he just rescued, is actually the leader of this evil organization. Dun dun dun! She's the leader, not his uncle. Then his sister removes Milan's spike, which will turn her into a mist wraith. It's very rude. So Wax has been tricked, betrayed, he's lost a comrade, been beaten near to death, and realizes the bands of mourning that he recovered is a fake. He's having a bad day. So Wax dies. He speaks with Harmony, who admits that he has been pulling a lot of strings in Wax's life for a certain purpose, though he won't tell us what that certain purpose is. And he offers to give Wax another chance at life. So Wax resurrects. Marasi finds the true bands of mourning, but she doesn't want the power that they hold, so she gives them to Wax, which gives him phenomenal cosmic power. Wayne also overcomes his fear of guns, at least for the moment, and shoots Telsin, Wax's sister, which allows him, she doesn't die, but it does allow him to recover Milan's spike and save her. So Alec and his people, the Malwish, return to their homeland on the ship. The Khandra keep the bands of mourning, and trade opens up between Ellendale and the Malwish people. Also, a man with red eyes appears to tell Sooth that he's useless now and he will die, and then he kills him. And Wayne also realizes that his coin too is a metal mine, so he taps it and accesses a memory of a man saving the Malwish people, and it's Kelsier. So that'll be a thing. That'll be a thing. So those are, I think, some main points that are important to get a refresher on for the characters and for the story at large. There's a lot more that goes on in the plots as far as just like fun action and stuff, which I skipped over to keep this condensed. But if there's anything that I forgot, messed up, or that really should also be at the forefront, please put it in the comments to refresh more people's memories or to give people more refreshers going into book 4. I also feel really confident that I'm not the only person that has decided to do a recap. So after I'm done filming this right now, I'm gonna do a Google and I will link more videos of more recaps in case you need more. So the comments will probably be filled with a couple more important things to remember, so check those out. But also, please feel free to put in the comments what you're the most excited about in book 4, whether it's a character development that you think is gonna happen or some sort of big reveal for the magic, some plot point that will come together. Let me know what is the one thing that you're the most excited to see in the 4th book. For me, it's really basic, but it might just be the reveal of who the sword is going to be, because I think it's gonna be Wayne, maybe Marasi. I'm just really excited to see what that is and why Harmony's been pulling the strings. Is it just because Wax is close to the person? But then why not speak to them directly? Am I wrong? Is it gonna be Wax? I'm really excited to see what. I would say I want to know more about what Kelsier's been up to, but I don't think that's actually going to happen in this book. We're probably going to get that information later on. Also, I really want to learn more about Trell and see the conflict between him and Harmony, but again, that may not be happening in this book, that may be happening in another era, so, because we have more eras to come. I don't know, there's a lot of things I'm excited about. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. If you did, I hope you enjoyed it. I post videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on this channel, Tuesdays and Thursdays on the second channel, which will be linked in the description of this video. I'll see you again soon, bye.